I think that investing in the acoustics of this studio has probably been the best investment I've made. Hello and welcome to another video. If you're new here, please do click subscribe. And today I want to tell you about why investing in the acoustics in my studio has been the smartest business decision that I've made. But even if you don't have your own recording studio and you're just looking at treating your band's rehearsal space, I can still discuss the perks in that as well. I think I would consider the investment in the acoustic treatment of my studio to be more influential on the success of my business than any of my gear, actually. So more important than my beautiful Neumann monitors, more important than my universal audio interfaces, just really acoustic treatment has made the biggest difference. The point of this video is that the perks go way beyond just making this room sound better, and I want to discuss all of those perks with you. But first, let's show you how I did treat my studio. Alright, so first up, the pride and joy of my studio design is my ceiling. The entire thing is a cloud. I've treated the entire ceiling. Each of these gray strips is a panel that spans the length of the whole room and is over a foot thick of Rascals safe and sound insulation. It really isn't rocket science on how to build an acoustic panel that actually works, but just know that the material that you use and the depth of that material are crucial. If you want to know more about how to build a good sound panel, I'll link to Jesko Lohan's channel right here. He is the best resource around on this topic, if you ask me. This studio is a small room, and I attribute this cloud to the majority of my success in making it sound good and become a great mixing room. It is an enormous amount of treatment, and it handles so many of the problems for me. And it takes advantage of space that I wouldn't otherwise be using. After that, I've got my first reflection points covered on my left and my right. All of the panels in my room are using Rascals safe and sound insulation. I would suggest that you build your panels to be about 6 inches in depth, but I don't have a lot of room in the studio, so I went with a smaller design. I've also placed similar panels in each corner behind my speakers, one behind my TV mounted on the wall, and a few down below on the wall behind my desk. Again, my goal here was to squeeze as much treatment as I can into the room without taking up too much usable space. But it is also important to me that it looks great, and that brings me to what might be my favorite sound panel ever, and it is right behind me. That's it. That painting is a panel. This piece of art is something I've had for ages, and I did want it in my studio, but I knew that I needed some more treatment. So with the help of a friend, we turned it into one. It was as simple as just framing it up, adding insulation behind it, and hanging it. As long as the fabric that you're using is breathable, meaning that you can put it up to your mouth and breathe through it, you're gonna be fine. Alright, so that about covers how I treated my studio. You can obviously do a lot more if you want, or you can do less. This wasn't all done at once for me. I started with the ceiling, added the side panels, and then slowly added more and more, and honestly, if I can figure out ways to fit more in, I probably will. But I mentioned there were other perks that were beyond just making this room sound better, and I want to get to those because that's what I'm really excited to talk about. Alright, so the perks. What I really love is not only does it make everything sound better and more accurate, it also makes things faster. I get results faster, I can mix faster, and this means that I end up having less mixed revisions as well. The whole thing moves faster. Essentially, everything is faster and better. As a result, I'm able to put out better work, which is getting me more work, and I'm able to do that work faster. It just spirals from there. But most importantly, I found that it instills a certain amount of confidence. One of the biggest hurdles in mixing is learning your room, and with a well-treated room, that is a lot easier to know what you're doing. Essentially, once your room is well-treated, you stop second-guessing yourself and wondering if what you're hearing is what is actually going on, and you can just work confidently. That is worth it alone. It makes this whole thing a lot more fun and a lot less stressful. Alright, so now what if you don't have a studio and you're just in your band's rehearsal space? Should you treat that room? Yes, it is still totally an awesome investment of time and resources. My band, Rascals, rented this really tiny little room in the woods as a rehearsal space for a while, and when we first moved in there, it was just plywood everywhere, and it was so loud, it was so hard to hear what was going on, so we then slapped panels everywhere. We had them on the ceiling, the walls, everywhere we could put them essentially, and it changed everything. We could hear what everybody was playing, we could practice at lower levels, and we just got way tighter. It was so worth it. Jamming and actually having it sound good is really inspiring as well, so it just made it more fun to rehearse and to write. Now, there is something of a myth out there about treating your room, and that myth is that you're going to overdo it. The idea is that you're going to overtreat it, and your room's going to sound dead and lifeless and not inspiring. As far as home studios go, it's a myth. It's really hard to pull off too much treatment. Especially if your goal is accuracy, don't worry about it. Treat as much as you can, is my opinion. The exception is if you think your room sounds magical for a certain instrument. For example, you might have a room where drums just sound magical, and there isn't really a reason to mess with that. But if we're talking about needing to hear things with accuracy, treat away and treat heavily. Rooms are your enemy and you must combat them. And finally, don't use this stuff. It's terrible. It isn't effective at treating most frequencies, so it actually kind of makes things worse in a lot of cases. I mean, if it's all you've got and you think it's helping, I guess sure, but don't go buy this. Make some real sound panels. Trust me when I say that if I could build a sound panel, so can you. I am terrible at building things. So to summarize, I can't really imagine a situation where it wouldn't be a good idea to invest in the treatment of your studio space. If you are recording music and you need to know what you're hearing is accurate, absolutely do it. It's the best money you're gonna spend, I promise you. And if you're a band recording in a rehearsal space, it's probably not a great sounding room, so treat away and try and remove the bad flaws of that room, and you're gonna end up with better recordings, plus you're gonna have more fun jamming in there in the future. It just makes everything better. And now if you're struggling with getting your own space set up and don't know what you should do or how you should treat it, maybe consider getting some one-on-one coaching. And right now, if you head to the link below, you'll find a link that'll get you a free one-on-one coaching call with the Self-Recording Band Academy, and you can find out if it's a good fit for you and get some help along the way. Thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me in my studio. This was a really fun one for me to make, and the studio was fun to make too, honestly. Be sure to give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and don't forget to click subscribe so that you can check out future videos. Love to see you there. And if you've got any clever acoustic tricks for how you treated your own space, please do let me know in the comments. I would love to see them. All right, thanks again, and until next time, have fun.